Yeah, my name is Kathy Iglesias. I work here at the library, and one of my jobs is technology. So we're going to be talking about Google Drive today. And Google Drive itself, it is a mechanism that you can get to once you register through Google have a Google account. Google Drive is one of the what they call their suite, one of the items in their suite that you can access. And within Google Drive, there are many other applications that you can access. We are not going to be going into detail on what those different applications are, but I would be very interested in knowing at the end whether or not you would be interested in further delving into what they are. So let's get started. Google Drive has many, many benefits. It's 15 gigabytes worth of free storage in the cloud. It is cloud-based, so the files don't actually live on your computer itself, but live up in the in the cloud. There are many times when you have to upload some large files to send to somebody else. And I've had this situation where I had to email files and they were just too big for me to email them. What you can do is you can upload those large files into Google Drive and then invite someone else to share so that they can view the file also. You can send and share documents, like I just said. You can access and edit with others simultaneously. So different people can be working on the same file at the same time. One of the nice things about Google Drive that you're probably not familiar with if you just use Microsoft Office, like their Word and Excel, is you don't need to save when you make a change. It's automatically saved at the when you do it. You can also access it on any device. So any device that has Drive on it, you can access your files from different locations. So say I have Drive on my computer and I have Drive on my phone, I can access files in both places. And I can embed documents on web pages. In other words, I can take those documents and put them on the web if I want to. In Google Drive, there's a suite of software apps, and think of it in terms of what you know in terms of Microsoft products. So Google Docs is very similar to Word. Google Sheets is very similar to Excel. Google Slides is very similar to PowerPoint. And Google Forms really doesn't have a Microsoft Office equivalent. Google Forms in itself is what it says. It's a way to make surveys. So when you access Google Drive, you can access it from your computer by going to this link, https://drive.google.com, or you can access it on your thumbnail grid. And this is what a thumbnail grid looks like. You can also go to your App Store for a mobile device or Google Play and download Drive from there. And if you need any training or help, Google does offer support. So I'm letting you see the URL for support.google.com. When you first log into Drive, you have an empty screen. And this is pretty much what it looks like. So what you're going to want to do is populate that screen so that you have files that you can work with. You can upload files, you can upload pictures, you can upload whatever you like in Drive. So let's walk around what the Google screen looks like. On the top is a search bar. You can search for a particular document that you're looking for, or you can go to search options and you can do a more advanced search if by going there. If you need support, if you look for that little question mark there, that's Google support. These are settings within Google Drive. Right here is your thumbnail grid, and that's all the different Google applications. The next thing on the top is called an avatar, and it will have, it might have your initial, might have your picture, something like that. If you have a Gmail account, you automatically have access to Google Drive as one of the ways to get in. Otherwise, a Google account will be the way to go. Over here is the navigation panel. So you can see, you can create a new document. You can look at documents in different areas. It automatically defaults to my drive, which it's showing me my drive right now. But if it has things in priority, it would show me that, or we're going to go through what each one of these different navigation panels mean, as well as storage used. So it's telling me that I've used 10 point something gigabytes of the 15 gigabytes that are free to me. Up here are suggested, and I can turn these on and off in settings. In other words, I can make it appear or I can make it disappear. So I don't need to see it. It makes suggestions based on what it thinks I might want to be working on. They're not always what I want, but it does that. And then these are the files, and you can see that in the file size, and that if they're blank, they're not taking up any space, and this is a form. This is a sheet. This is a like a PowerPoint presentation, and this is the actual PowerPoint presentation. And you can see that that has a file size associated with it. So if it's in a Google format, it doesn't take up any space, but if it's not in the Google format, it does. Here I have a side panel, and these are other Google applications that I can access. And down here is a little arrow, and if I press on that arrow, I can display or hide that side panel. If the folder is dark like this, as you can see, it's a little shaded. That's a selected folder. If I double click on it, that folder will open. And then all of this is my main Google Drive area. This up here with name is sort order. It goes from A through Z or Z through A. And you can see also on here that these are folders, and folders always come before files. So that's how Google Drive is set up. When we do an advanced search, we can search for different files in different ways. We can look for a specific type, and this would be a doc or a sheet or whatever we want it to be. We can also look for PDFs. We can look for images. Some of my images would be like JPEGs and things like that. I might have them in Google Drive. And because they are not in Google format, they will take up some space. I can look for an owner. This is the person that the file belongs to, or the person that created the file. It might be me, or it might be a file that was shared with me. So somebody else might be the owner of that file. The location is whether or not the file is in my folder or I put it in trash, or it's important, so I start it, and I'll show you how to do all that. I can look at the date that it was modified, the date that the last time somebody edited that file. I can look for the item name, which is pretty much self-explanatory. Or I can look for specific words within the file. I can look for files that have been shared from a specific person. Or I can look for files that I have follow-up on. Maybe somebody put a comment on one of my files that I shared with them, and it requires me to have some sort of action I need to take. These are my navigation panel options. That was the panel that was on the left. So I can look for files that are the most relevant, that have priority. Like I said, these might be the most relevant in Google terms, but not necessarily in my terms. I can look on my drive, which is, like I said, the default view when you log in. Folders first, files next. Or I can look at shared drives. Shared drives belong to a team instead of an individual. So say that I'm working with a group of 5 people, and those files belong to, each member can see those files. If somebody leaves the team, those files do not go with them. They stay in the shared drive. So they always exist to whoever, even if the team members should change, they always belong to the team and not a person. Shared with me are files that were created by somebody else that have been shared. I can look at the files that have most recently been worked on. So if I was working on something yesterday, I can easily find that. I can star it, or I can put it in trash. If I put it in trash, it can be recovered, so it's not the end of the world. Like I said, Google Files have 0 bytes. They don't take up any space. And by tapping on the word storage, you can see all the files in Drive and how much storage that they use. So you can see on the bottom that I have 10.91 gigabytes used, and only 309.5 megabytes of my 15 gigabytes are in Drive, mainly in my mail folder, 10.6 gigabytes in my mail folder. And also it looks at photos, and I don't have any photos in Google Photos. So I'm using up 0 bytes of space there. So it kind of gives you a breakdown when you tap on this storage place, so you can see exactly where your storage is being used. If you need to, you can increase the amount of space by buying it. It's called a Google One account. You can buy another 100 gigabytes for $2 a month or $20 a year. You can read this yourself. I did a little bit of investigation, and I just wanted to share with you because I know a lot of people are very interested in their photos and how much space they take up. So I looked and I saw very high quality photos. If you have 128 gigabytes, so it would be buying this 200 gigabyte plan for $30 a year. You can for 128 of that 200, you can have very high quality photos over 3,550 of those photos for 128 megabytes. I'm sorry, gigabytes. So depending on your needs, would depend on whether or not you would want to go into a Google One account or not.
Kathy, can I ask a question?
Certainly.
So in other words, like if someone, you know, had a lot of photos and they want their computer being dragged down on it, they could
Right.
they could pay to store them on Google Drive if they needed, you know, that much. And it's also probably really good also if people have videos that
That's
they want
right.
to store because they take up a lot of space.
They take up a lot of space, and they're the type of file that you can't share through the mail, through Yahoo or Gmail or whatever account, because they're just too big.
Right.
They're over the 25 kilobits max.
Like, for example, we record this meeting and then we send it via Google Drive to the person who does the editing for us. And that's the way we do it, because that's the only way you can.
That's correct. That's correct. And I used to take some sound recordings, and those files were huge, and I used to have to break them up to, you know, the specific size. So it took a long time. Now it's very fast.
Great.
So here's how you create a new folder. First, you go to this little button called New. And then underneath Drive, you'll see this folder, file upload, or folder upload. So you want to choose folder. And then a screen will pop up and it will ask you to give it a name. So you name your folder and then tap on Create. And it's as simple as that. So for file structure, I'm sure you guys are familiar with this, but let me go through it anyway. File structure is a folder will contain several different files. So think of it this way. If you're in your house and you're going to the nursery, you're going to find little kids' clothes, you're going to find a rocking horse, and you're going to find a crib. So each one of those rocking horse, crib, or clothes would be a file. And that file would be contained in a folder called the nursery. So if you want to, you can organize things so you can group like things together within a folder. If you want to create a file in Google Drive, again, you would tap on New. Then it's going to ask you what type of file you want to create. Do you want to create a doc, which is a document? Do you want to create a sheet, which is an Excel spreadsheet? Do you want to create something like a PowerPoint? So you're going to select the type of document that you want to create. And then you're going to give that document a name. And this can be hard to see or easy to overlook, I should say. It's not going to have a title. It's going to say untitled document when you first create it. So you give it a name, and then you type the body of the document. Just very similar to how you would do it in Word, if it's a Google Doc. The only thing I have to say about Google Docs, Sheets, Forms, they have a little less ability to be modified. You can do more in Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel or Microsoft PowerPoint. You could do more there. So sometimes what you want to do is you want to download it to your computer, make the changes, and then re-upload it. but it is quite possible to do everything you need to do within Google Drive. So if you want to create a file using the grid, you can also do that. So if you tap your thumbnail grid, and then it's going to give you another picture of the different types of files. So in this case, I want to create a document. So I go to Docs, and then it's going to show me all the different templates that are available to me. I can either make a document from scratch, which is a blank document, or it gives me these other ones, a report, an essay, different kinds of reports, a book report, class notes, and there are many, many other ones here, and you can look at all the template gallery by clicking on these arrows here. So once you pick out, I picked out just a blank document. Again, I get the screen where I give it a name, the untitled document, and then I type the body of my document. So you can substitute docs with sheets, slides, or forms, depending on what you want to create. You can upload existing files. So say I have a file on my computer and I want to upload it into Drive. Again, I tap on the new button here. And here I would pick file upload. And then, or I could pick a folder upload too. And then I pick the folder that I want, or file that I want. And I want this Word file, learning resources, to be uploaded into Drive. And all I have to do is click on where it says open. If you upload a file that has an existing file name, it's going to give you an option where you can either replace the file, say you've made changes on your computer and you want to upload the new version, so you want to keep the same name, keep the same file, or you can take the existing file and also the new file and have them both be in your Drive. So it gives you that option, and then you just click on this upload button. And when you see this upload complete, one upload complete, you know that your file has been successfully uploaded for you. You can also download a file or folder. So you're downloading to your computer from Google Drive. So you select the file that you want within your Drive. You go up here to the 3 dots, and this is a bigger version of it. And when you click on those 3 dots, you'll get this little menu, and you're gonna select download, which is right down here. So you can also move a file to a folder. So say you've been working on a file and you want to organize. So you can move that file into a folder. So you're going to right click on the file that you want to move, and then you're going to select move to. So select the folder you'd like the file to be in. And then, so it's moved to here. Select the file, the folder that you want the file to be in, and then move. You can also star a file so that it's triggered, so that you know it's important. So the way you would do that is select the file. So here I've selected a file, and I go up to my 3 dots, and I select add to start. So once I do that, that file has a star following it. So it's now been marked as an important file to me. And you can see on this slide here, there is a star after the file name now. I can also remove it from starred. So say there's not important to me anymore, something else is more important. I can select that starred file. I go up to my 3 dots and I select remove from starred. Another way I can organize things and make things stand out is if I color code my folders. And you can see here that there are many, many colors to choose from. So what I do is select a folder, go up to my menu again, and down here, I'm going to select change color. Notice this menu does change depending on what file or folder I've selected. So change color is not something that will come up with a file. It will only come up with a folder. So I select what color I want my folder to be. And you can see it's changed the color from this gray to kind of a blue. If I have Drive on other devices, it will automatically synchronize to those other devices so that the files that I'm looking at on my computer are the same as the files I'd be looking at on my phone. And if my internet should break or I need to go offline in the middle of when it syncs, Drive will pick up where it left off when you're back online. So you never have to worry about it being out of sync when your internet is working. I can also delete files. I can select the file that I want deleted, and I can put it in my trash can. So I look up on my toolbar here, and there is a little trash can, and I can put it in there. And then I'm going to say, it will tell me that anything I put in trash is going to be automatically deleted forever in 30 days. So I have 30 days to get it back out of my trash can if I decide that I don't want to discard that file. But if I do want to discard it, I move it to trash. Okay, so I can also restore my files, and this is how I do it. I go to trash from my navigation panel. So it's right down here, trash, and I select the file. So I'm gonna select this file over here, and then I restore it, and my restore button looks like this. And that's the way to get a file out of trash. If I want to share a file, I right-click on the file name, and then I select share. And I enter the email addresses of the people I'd like to share with. So if I wanted to share it with Liz, I would enter her email address, or maybe Cindy, I'd enter her email address. And then I'd select an access level. Do I want them to be able to change things? Do I want them to be able to only view things? Do I want them to be able to edit things? So I would pick that access level, and I would notify people that by checking this box here, I would notify people that I am sharing a file with them. And here is your access level. It can either be a viewer, a commenter, or an editor. So an editor can make changes. A commenter can comment on the text itself, or I can make somebody a viewer and they can only look at it. They can't make any changes whatsoever. And I then give them a message. I'm sharing this report with you, and I click on send, and it sends that file and lets them know that I'm offering to share it with them. I can also uncheck notify people. I don't know why you would do this, but you can do it. And it will just make whatever file I'm sharing shareable, but they won't know that I've shared it with them. And then I click on share and it's gone. I mean, it's shareable. Now, if you're sharing a file that you own, and it has some sensitive content and you don't want the person that you're sharing it with resharing it, you can block their ability to reshare. So what you do is you're going to go up to this little settings button up here, and that allows you to add sharing restrictions. And this little window is going to pop up, and the top one is going to be editors can change permissions and share. So anybody with editor permissions can then send it on. Or viewers and commenters can see the download, print, and copy, so they can send it on also. So if I uncheck these two boxes, they're not able to do it anymore. So if you prevent the sharing of the restricted file, a folder, I should say, it applies only to that folder. So say that I have shared a folder with 5 other people, and I don't want that content of any of the files within that folder to go to anybody else. I would have to do the same thing for each file within that folder. So that's really important to know, because the restricting the folder in itself is not going to be helpful to you. And then if anybody with editor access, in other words, they can change the file, tries to reshare, but they're restricted, they will get an option to email me if I own the file for permission to share it. I can also get a restricted link, and what I can do with that link is I might be able to put it on my website so that they have that link, they know where to find the document, that sort of thing. So I can right click on the file or folder and then select get link. And I can then enter the email addresses of the people you'd like to share with. I can copy my link. I can set the restriction level. And do I want it to be restricted? Do I want it to let anyone within my work group? And in this case, my work group is Westchester Library System. Or do I want anybody who has access to this link the ability to see it? So I need to I need to change it to anyone with the link if I put it on my website. Westchester Library System, if they have a particular extension on their Gmail account, they would be able to access it. Or restricted would mean I just get the link. And then I select done, and I've copied that link. If I want to get an unrestricted link, I can right click on the file or folder and select get link again. I can put in the email addresses of the people, copy the link, set the restriction level to anyone with the link, and I can then select done. So that's unrestricted. Okay. If I want to see what activity has happened on any of my files, I can do that. I first would select the file and then go to that menu. And I will go down here to where it says view details. And it's going to give me two types of details. It's going to give me details about the document itself, who has access to it. It's going to tell me how big it is. It's going to tell me where it's located. And then I can also view the activity. And the activity is, when was it last updated? When was it created? That sort of thing. So I can actually go and look at my different versions of the document too. So if I want to upload files from my phone or my tablet, on my device, I would find the Drive app in the App Store or on Google Play. And I'd open the app containing the file that I want to upload and tap Share and then tap Drive. So on my phone, when I go into my Share, Drive is going to be one of the options that's automatically there once I've uploaded it. So when I share Drive, I can store, search, or access team files anywhere from any device. Shared drives are different than regular drives in that they belong to the team. Like I said before, they do not belong to an individual. So even if somebody leaves the team or people change, the files don't go away. So if I want to create a shared drive, I go again to New and go down to Shared Drives. So I select what shared drives and I tap Create a Shared Drive and I give the shared drive a name. And then once I do that, I create the drive. Adding members is really easy. I double click on the shared drive name and it's going to say on the right hand side in blue letters, it's going to say manage members. So I tap on that and then I tap on the email address of the members that I want to add. And I set an access level. So these are the different access levels. That can be a manager, a content manager, a contributor, a commenter, or a viewer. And we're going to talk a little bit about what each one of those, what they can do in each one of those access levels. And then when you're finished, you can tap on the button that says done. The thing that I was very disheartened to find out was when you have a shared drive, each person that is a member of that shared drive has to have a Google account. If they don't have a Google account, they can't be a member. So these are the different access levels. And these on the left are the different permissions that the person can have, person can have. And depending on if they're a manager, they can do any of these things. If they're a content manager, they can't move files, they can't add or remove, and they can't change member access levels. And they can't permanently delete any of the files. If they're a contributor, in addition to those things, they can't move files and folders to the trash, and they can't move files and folders within a shared drive. If they're a commenter, they can only make a comment or view the file. And a viewer can only view the file. They can't do anything to change it. So if I want to add files to a shared folder, I select the shared drive that I want. And here I was very creative and called it shared drive. So that's the title of the folder. And I tap in any space, and I'm going to get, I can have a new folder, I can upload a file, or I can create one, a new document or sheet or slide or form. And actually there's even more things in Google Drive, but they aren't used as frequently. So I upload a file or folder, create a new file, and then I double click a file name to open it. So if I want to open this first file, I double click it and it will open, or second file in my folder, in my drive, sorry. And if I want to, sorry, this is my way. If I want to hide and unhide shared drives, if I right click on the shared drive itself, it's going to give me a menu, and down here is hide the shared drive. Or I can unhide the shared drive by double clicking, by right clicking. If it's hidden, I get this unhide, and if it's not hidden, I get hide. Well, I hope that this was helpful, and I hope it answered a couple questions of curiosity things going on. And it's a nice service that they have, and I know that we use it quite often here, because like Liz said, there are files that are just too big, or we do need to work with each other. And especially in these days of COVID, where people are in different locations, it's nice to be able to work together in that way. So we do use it quite a bit, and you can be anywhere. As long as you have internet access, you can be anywhere in the world and access that file. So it's good. So we'll look at your things that you put in the chat, things that you're interested in, and we'll get right on that.
Okay.
Thank you so
very
much for joining us.
Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.